Hey guys, it's John from Talking with Rich, Johnny. As most people know, I have the pleasure today to speak with another military veteran friend of mine, Doug Barry. Welcome, Doug. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, man.
No, it's my pleasure. Doug is the writer. He's created a series, children's books called Jasper and Friends. And that's basically what we want to talk about today is really kind of delve into what inspired you to do that. What were the steps? What were some of the hurdles that you overcame? So if you could give us a little background of what you did in the military and then kind of segue into what you've been doing since you've retired.
Sure. Yeah, in the military, I was an armament system specialist on A-10 and F-16 aircraft. I maintained not only the weapon system on the aircraft, but also loaded the bombs and rockets and missiles and all that stuff on the planes. Was stationed down at Davis-Monthan for 4 years, did my year in South Korea. And then I was moved to Shaw Air Force Base here in South Carolina. And I say Shaw is an acronym for stay here a while because I stayed there for 15 years, retired there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes. So you did 20 years, or did you
yeah.
do 20 and cut it off, or did you stick it out a little longer?
Nope, I did 20. I like to call it the full pool. I did 20 years, and I figured that was about enough. I had, for about the last 4 years I was in, I kind of dabbled with a race team up in Charlotte, Concord area,
Mm-hmm.
doing some market stuff and a couple of like NASCAR Busch stuff back in the day and everything, just kind of a part-time mechanic for them.
Mm-hmm.
And when 20 years rolled around, I'm like, well, let me go ahead and stop the Air Force stuff and see if this racing thing kicks off, and maybe I can get into that full time. It didn't, but it was fun. It was fun
I
while it
can
lasted.
imagine.
I had a blast.
Yeah, I can imagine they seem like a crazy group of guys. I've caught a couple of races down in Daytona when I was stationed down there in Jax. So, yeah. So what got you into the children's book arena? Because that's a pretty significant change going from a military lifestyle, which both of us have served. So, I mean, it's a really kind of a stressful. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I did 23 years and I was done, way past done. What was the inspiration, I guess, for Jasper and Friends?
Sure, yeah. Growing up reading books to my kids because we read a lot to them, and I always thought it's like these don't seem too hard. I wonder if I could write a children's book. And you think about it, but it seems like all the topics have been covered ad
Mm-hmm.
nauseum, and so you just kind of put it in the back of your head and wait for some kind of inspiration to come along. And lo and behold, when my son was about 9 or 10 years old, he caught a baby rabbit in the backyard and brought it in the house, named it Jasper, and it spent the night in the house, and we let it go the next day. And I looked over at my wife and I'm like, there's the idea right there. That's a perfect
That's the
idea
inspiration right
for a
there.
children's book.
Yeah. And you've got what, like 3 out now? Is it? I know
Yeah.
you've got
So
the one the overnight at the People's House, I think it is. I have to, you know what, I need to double check, but you've got
yeah,
it quite
we
a
got
few at this point, right?
yeah, we got these two. Yeah, we got those two. And I just
Nice.
spent
Been
a
at the
People
People's
House
House.
and a day at the
Yeah.
beach.
You got one coming up,
And
right?
the one coming up is just going to be simply titled Farmer Jasper.
Farmer
That's going to
Jasper.
be the new one coming out.
Wow. And you
So
got
yeah,
grandkids?
that's we're getting there. I've got the fourth
You
grandkids.
have
Yeah, I got three.
3 grandkids, so I'm sure that they've been as some inspiration for as you've been writing these stories. That's kind of cool, huh? They enjoying the heck
Yeah.
out of them, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. They think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The new thing this year also was our stuffed toy. We got a stuffed toy I actually got designed. So there's Jasper. Kids can hold Jasper if they
Very
want to.
cool, man. Yeah. So I mean, how are you marketing? Or what was what is how did you start? I mean, because a lot of times people have an idea, but they don't know what to do next, and they may be inspired like you guys were, guys, when you found that rabbit and whatnot. But let's say somebody has an idea for a book. What were some of the hurdles, one, that you immediately realized uh, that you didn't expect, maybe that became hurdles, and yeah, just kind of dive into that a little bit.
Certainly. The first hurdle was being told no. Yeah, I always tell folks, it's like, man, you got to just keep pushing and be persistent and work through till you get to the yes, because it's definitely worth it. I was turned down by about 3 publishers. And you put it on the shelf for like, you get turned down, you put your idea on the shelf for like a year or two, and then you go at it again and try it again. And so it really stretched out. It wasn't until about 2020 that it actually got published. I ended up going with a what they call a hybrid publisher, Fulton Publishing. They decided they would take it and go with it for me. But yeah, some of the sticky points through the publication process, they do take care of everything, which is cool because I don't have to go looking for ISBNs or UPC codes
Yeah.
and editing and looking for an illustrator. They hook me up with all that stuff. That's the beauty of a hybrid publisher. You spend a little bit more upfront, but all that stuff's taken care of for you. But the one funniest thing is when they asked me, they're like, all right, well, everything looks good. The story's good. Everything's cool. But we need some, you need to like write down what you want each page illustration to be. And I'm like, didn't even think of that. I don't know why I didn't, but, and I had no idea. I was completely out of my realm of knowledge as to how I'm supposed to explain stuff to folks like that. So I'm sitting in my chair and I'm looking around the house and I'm like, the night I spent in a people house. And I'm like, wait a minute, I live in a house. So I put my camera out and I started taking pictures of where I wanted like the scenes to take place in my house, like down about Rabbit Lake, and taking pictures of the house and the backyard and going down to the 2 ponds we have here in the subdivision. So I'm sure if anybody saw me outside, they probably thought I was crazy. It's like, what is that guy doing, for God's sakes? But so that once I did that, that was perfect, because then I could just send them the images and just say, hey, I want Jasper the rabbit over here. I want the mouse here, the squirrels there doing this, that sort of thing. And but that was a big hurdle, and the biggest hurdle of all, not to jump too far ahead, but it is marketing. Oh my gosh, you think your job's done when you get the book published and it's out there, but man, I've not a marketing expert. I got a little bit of a background in marketing, but wow, yeah, it's the shotgun style marketing is what I'm using. It's just social media all over the place, calling everybody I see on, sending out messages for podcasts, TV interviews,
Well,
radio spots.
I know you've been, that's what I was going to talk to you about is how did you get your local news station to pick up your story? Was it just from persistence, or did you have somebody help you with that, or how did that come about? Because I don't know very many brand new authors of any series that start getting interviewed on their local television stations. How did that work? How did that come
Yeah,
about?
that was a little daunting, and I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but Rob Garcia, he calls himself the warrior strategist, and he truly is. He has hooked me up with some good tactics, and I used them, and I'll be dadgummit, they worked. And
That's what I love about the veteran community. I mean, if one of us doesn't know something, all you got to do is ask. It seems like everybody's they're really, really good at 1 or 2 things, but sometimes they're missing that one little aspect of it. And especially with this veteranpreneur tribe, there's a lot of knowledge base in that group. So it's it's a nice resource for people that are trying to start something from scratch. I haven't, the kind of the things that I do is 3D work and gaming type things. I'll post occasionally in there, but I've been seeing a lot of your posts, man, and you've been I mean, whether you knew how to do it or not, you've done a great job with honestly, I mean, you've done a great job with getting your word out there about your book series. What's some of the other things that you plan to do? I kind of seen through your post, and are you looking to make a cartoon at some point, or is there anything in the works on that?
Yeah, I read a book by David Knoll. He's a 2-time Emmy award-winning TV producer and creator. He does mostly game shows, but he also did the Chopped series franchise, the culinary show Chopped. And so I read his book. He just wrote a book called the Vic, the Visionary in Charge. And he goes over a bunch of stuff, and he's like, you're going to think about stuff anyway. Think not just big, but think huge,
Yeah,
which you're gonna exert the same amount of energy.
for sure.
So yeah, that's where that came from. And then a lot of people tell me when they see my books, it's like I could see that as a Saturday morning cartoon. It's like
Yeah.
that could easily be a cartoon.
Yeah, each of the
So
characters could be their own little storyline. It's you've done a really good job with making quite a few different characters that you could build storylines off of.
yeah, so it's definitely on my scope.
Mhm.
We'll see. Um, Everything in God's time, and I'd rather slow progress than big explosive progress, and then it fizzles out right away. So I'd rather
Mhm.
just create, and
Yeah.
to do it that way.
So now you're all listed on Amazon. What are some of the other sites that you've been able to get Jasper and Friends listed in?
It almost sounds like I'm bragging, but it is literally on just about every online bookstore that you can plug into the browser there.
It's not bragging, brother. That's hard
It's
work.
it's it's literally just about everywhere online. And now I'm really pushing to get it in stores.
Mhm.
Uh that's very hard to do.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of leaning towards gift shops. There is a gift shop in California. I think it's going to get in. Excuse me. Still battling that cold just a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
So
it keeps with you for a while afterwards.
yeah, so it's going to be we're getting it over. It's the family that I worked with on the race team. They've got their
Mhm.
dad has a huge automotive museum in California, Woodland Auto Museum, and they're going to put my books and possibly my stuffed toy and stuff and some other stuff in their gift shop. So
That's awesome,
I think
brother.
that might be my foot in the door. Bless their hearts. I'm glad they're helping me out, and I'm hoping that we can do a good enough media blitz on that other gift shops will see it and go, hey, I
Yeah,
really like their display.
it's a
They have
great
a lot of these
idea.
books, and maybe I need that in my gift shop. So we're
Yeah,
gonna we're gonna abuse that as much as we can.
no, for sure. And I noticed you were showcased on the Military Times. Have you reached out to the AFEs and tried to get your books listed through the AFE stores?
I've not well AFIS that's a hard nut to crack. You would
It
think it would be
is.
easy for veterans. It's not.
No, no,
I
it
may
should be
need to do
easier.
it. Yeah, it should they should have a veteran product area in AFIS, in my personal humble opinion, and to help out folks. I probably need to go down and talk to the manager at the local AFES here on Shaw,
Mhm.
and he may have more insight than I do because I get stuck like everybody else, just looking on their webpage, going, "Wow,
Yeah.
that's an uphill climb."
Yeah, I've tried to list a couple of things on there, and it's you almost need to just pay somebody. I mean, it's one of those complicated. I mean, and maybe to somebody that's done it 100 times, they're thinking, no, it's not that hard at all. But for somebody that's just starting out, it's daunting. So yeah, I mean, I can see where it'd be a little discouraging at first, but who knows? Maybe with the being in that gift shop, maybe eventually we'll start seeing Jasper and Friends characters on NASCAR cars, huh?
Yeah, I don't
Maybe a
know. We'll
sponsor
see.
for a NASCAR for one of those things racing
That,
around the track. That'd be cool.
that would be cool. They went to Indy, and Jeanette is the girl I'm talking to. It's the daughter,
Mhm.
and her brother Rich was going, who used to be our driver. He was going up to do some spotting in Indy, and she said he had some decals, but they didn't get on anything. But I was
Mhm.
hoping.
That'd be cool. That'd be a nice little product placement there
Yeah, I
on
was
a
hoping to
car.
get some pictures, but I haven't got any yet.
Well, I think it's another cool thing that you do with your books, which you had mentioned, but there's a specific charity organization that it's near and dear to your heart and that you'd like to contribute a portion of the proceeds. Could you talk a little bit about a little bit about that?
Yeah, Project Die Hard up in Paducah, Kentucky with Brian Gibson. I like they're doing a great thing with helping vets out that need a hand up, not a handout.
Mhm.
And I give 10% of my royalty check to those guys every quarter.
Yeah, I've seen the couple of the posts. I think that's a really I honestly I believe that if you pick something that you support, it's only going to help your your creative projects or whatever they are.
Yeah.
I think that that's a universal rule, you know, I mean, if you take care of other things and other people, that stuff comes back to you and success for your own business.
Yeah, I
Things.
mean, I wish I could give them more.
Mhm.
So hopefully, we'll get a nice big sale one day and, I can give them a
A big
larger.
fat chick. You could do it, you could have Jasper holding it, get one of
Yeah,
those.
exactly.
No, that's pretty cool. Well, what's in the immediate future? Anything other than the new book that you got coming out? What is some other things that you're looking forward to over the next few months?
Well, we've got the new book coming out in August. I've got the fourth book already 75% written. It's going to be a Christmas story. But, yeah, at the first half of the book, it's going to be Jasper's Christmas. First half is going to be the Santa stuff. Second half of the book, you're going to see a manger scene in front of a church.
Mhm.
Wise old Al's going to fly down and tell them the story of Jesus, the birth of Jesus. So that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Have you run into any situations where like people, because okay, I'll this is my own personal example, and I'm gonna ask you if you run into anything similar. But when I was pitching Rich Gwynn as an avatar character for Fortnite games, they really wanted him to be violent. You know, they wanted to be able to customize him out to where he was, you know, bloody or whatever. And I'm just not about that life anymore. I've experienced that. I don't want anything to do with that anymore. So have you run into that? I mean, like, have you run into any situation? Well, you're military. Why would you be making, you know, these wholesome books? Why don't you try to change it around a little bit or make it a little bit? Have you run into that at all? Have you had any feedback from anybody?
No, not really.
No.
Other than folks just teasing me about that sort of thing. It's like, when are we gonna have Rambo Jasper?
Exactly. No, I think that people don't realize, you know, it's a lot different than the games, you know? I mean, like it's not the movies, you know? And so
Yeah.
like for me, I don't want to glorify that part of my life. I mean, I'm not ashamed of it by any means, and I feel like I did my job, you know, with integrity, but I don't want to continue on with that down that road for the rest of my life. I don't know if that.
Well, no, exactly. That's like when I
Mhm.
got out. It's like I was telling folks at my ceremony. It's like, there's other things I want to do. It's not like I hate this so much I want to stop.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel the same way. No, I love the guys. I love the teams, the groups that I was
Oh
part
yeah.
of and everything like that. But yeah, it's just you get to a point in your life where you're just like, is this it? You know, I mean, I've got to try something different. And it
Exactly.
seems like
Yeah.
there's a lot of us in this space that are creative and because we've learned to build things up from the ground up, you know, build a plan, execute, that type of thing. I think we're just kind of ready made to be entrepreneurs. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I know. I agree with you. I think we're wired that way because when we were in, we were always told to leave a base better than it was when you got there.
Hmm.
So we're always constantly trying to improve on stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think I think that's just in our DNA. Once we get through the military, for sure.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool, man. I'm really excited to see what you're doing. You know, I was really appreciative for you coming on the show. It's an early show, and you know, we don't have a whole lot of, but it gets the word out. And the more I can showcase some of the other fellow veterans that are taking an idea and creating something with it, it just that it encourages me, but it also encourages others that maybe have that idea in their head, are kind of just stuck, you know. So
Oh yeah.
I listen, I really appreciate you, man, coming in today and talking about your project. If anybody's interested, you especially in the Christmas book coming up, that sounds like it's gonna be. If you're looking to get some nice series for your children to read to your children, Jasper and Friends is it. Yeah, the QR code will be on the video, obviously, but all the links for Doug and all of his work will also be in the links as well. Doug, thank you so much, man. I know you've been sick. I really appreciate you getting right back on the horse and taking some time with me today. I appreciate that.
No rest for the weary, right?
That's right. It's got to get built. It
Gotta
can't get
keep
built by itself, right?
gotta keep digging.
That's right. Thank you, Doug. We'll talk to you
No
again
problem.
soon.
Thanks for having me on. Take care.